go into our third challenge speaker today. This is Rich Porter of Graphcore. He's the Director of Silicon Verification at Graphcore. Rich has 25 years of design and verification experience in both startups and large multinationals. He spent his first year in industry writing RTL until he realised that all the interesting work is in verification, coming over to the light side. Rich is currently Director of Silicon Verification at Graphcore, so I hand over to Rich. Thank you.
There we are. Great, thanks. Does this work over here as well? Does this work? Hi. So verification challenges at Graphcore should be subtitled The Growing Pains of Verification at Graphcore, I think. But just an introduction quickly on Graphcore, in case you haven't heard of us, don't know what we do. Although it's that, whoa, magic. Although incidentally, so these images here are representations of neural nets. So the stronger the connection between nodes, the closer they are. I really like them. They just look so organic. More on our website. So Graphcore. So yes, technology. So we have a chip to accelerate machine learning. The product is the PCI Express card that you might have seen this morning. Yeah, we have a number of investors, and we've secured $310 million in funding to date. Growing company, I think we're already 250 plus, more than 200. It's going to be fun. And
Probably got some time in.
not that I know of. You'll recognise some of the people here. They're here today. Like I say, we're 250 plus currently. Applications of machine intelligence, everything as we know. That's what we've done. So, when I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, I thought, you know, what's my main challenge? That tends to be answering questions. So lots of people come to me and they ask me questions. And, you know, obviously I like to say no to everything to start off with, but, you know, sometimes you have to give more nuanced answers. So the first question that people tend to ask me that I have to answer is, are we there yet? You might have heard that if you've got children or project managers. People come to you, are we there yet? How much longer can I ship it? So timescales, how do I come up with timescales is challenging. And then the second question people ask me, and I ask is, you know, why didn't you tell me that? Or why didn't you ask me that? For example, we might discover there's some, you know, microarchitectural feature that's not been documented, or catch somebody abusing infrastructure, and they, you know, they haven't asked. So communication, how do I get engineers to talk to each other? And yeah, and finally, why isn't something bigger? You know, why haven't I got more people in my team? Why haven't I got more computers? So you know, resources. Yeah, first of all, on timescales. So this is how verification works at Graphcore. So we're very functional coverage driven. It gives us a clear and well-defined goal. But of course, as we all know, getting from 99% to 99.9% can take as long as getting to 99% in the first place. But we're also fortunate that we've got a clear, well-defined process and an experienced team. Obviously, that's a winning combination. But there's plenty of spanners waiting to be thrown in the works. As we're a young and agile company, we're chasing a constantly changing, you know, fashions of machine learning. And we can't afford to ship a device that's just not fit for purpose. So there's always last-minute spec changes being thrown at us to, you know, accommodate the latest research, and also because it's it's a new company, new ship, new team. There's lots of unknowns lurking around the corner to catch us unawares and push timescales out. Yeah, no plan survives first contact with the enemy, or perhaps no plan. No plan survives its first encounter with reality. Any plan that we make is probably out of date even before we finish it. So I think there's this realization that silicon verification, it remains an art. We follow our intuition in functional coverage to look for the issues. And then also, verification is never finished anyway. We could quite happily take forever. And it's all about confidence levels in the end. And so, yeah, so the second challenge is communication. It's a two-way thing. You need an active speaker and an active listener, but doubly so because you can push information as well as pull it. Even so, stuff still just gets lost. There appear to be invisible barriers between teams, even if they sit next to each other. Yeah, we end up with tribal knowledge being passed from peer to peer, and it turns into a game of Chinese whispers. So even if something is documented, the process might not be followed. And something I've come to realize recently is a lot of engineers are suitably abstracted from the realities of resources, and so we end up using a lot of our farm time doing unnecessary work, so it's wasteful. But as I said, communication is a two-way process, so we can push the information as well as pull it. What we're trying to do at Graphcore is have plenty of gives a chance for education, so we can have presentations to make sure people have the opportunity to learn about processes, but also, for example, we report on how much resource are being used. So recently we introduced something to say how many kilos of carbon dioxide we're using every time we run a regression. Of course, people still have to read that, but there you are. Then finally, resourcing. So yeah, 3 types of resource. So compute. So getting more compute, that's actually an easy sell to management. Many people here will know how much a Marset is for a contemporary process. So spending a few $1 million on some extra computers is quite an easy sell to protect the investment of that Marset. Licensing, so simulation has become a commodity. I think most of the EDA vendors are aware of that now, so it's easy to get lots of simulation seats for those CPUs that we can get. But that leaves sort of engineers, so that's a precious resource that's in quite short supply. So graduate recruitment has declined from its heyday perhaps in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, recessions in the noughties really put the brakes on that. People aren't doing CS anymore, and a lot of CS grads are going to the city to do financial engineering, perhaps instead of more traditional engineering. And also the Asian talent pool has become less mobile. People are anchored to places because they've got houses and spouses in children education. So Michael said, I've got a solution for that. Come and talk to me afterwards. But the thing is that any engineer, permanent or contract, I still have to onboard them. I have to transfer domain knowledge, tribal knowledge. The thing I thought of here is, what is the half-life of an engineer? How long is it before half your people leave? Is it different between a contractor or an employee? Obviously, of course, I could have just opened another site where the talent is. I could acquire a company. But that still gives me a travel and a management overhead, which I'd rather not have. And at the end, this lack of resource, makes it hard to introduce new technology, and you end up just having to do less, which isn't necessarily a good thing. So how's GraphCore addressing this? Well, the easiest thing to do is we just buy more computers. They're very hard workers. You don't need to interview them. Forget 996. These guys do 24/7. And then we exploit the long tail of test generation. And we're also trying to make verification engineers by employing graduates. I think that's it. And we're hiring, by the way.
Yeah. The last point is always going to be made at some point. Thank you very much, Rich. Thank you. Thank you.